Hi there, and welcome to the Shining Beautiful podcast series. And today I'm going to interview Peter Smith. Peter, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, obviously, I'm Peter Smith. I'm from the Centre for Disability Employment Research and Practice in Melbourne, Australia. We're a organisation that works in, obviously, disability employment, where we do research, we do training, and we provide technical support to organisations that deliver services, employment services, and want to transition to a better practice model. And in the case of our work, we underpin that with customised employment.
Tell us about what customized employment is.
Well, customised employment, from my perspective, is simply a process where the individual is at the centre, that it's about them. Every part of the process is customised to the individual. The employment search is customised to the individual. It's not a box-ticking exercise, and certainly I would consider that if you look at customised employment and take the discovery process for me is a process of understanding the individual deeply about their connections to their family and their community, and can be used for a number of things other than simply employment. And I think that's probably one of the things we don't get with customised employment is the discovery document is an actual fact a tool that allows me to develop a deeper understanding of the individual and allows us to have a conversation with a purpose. And we've actually found in our experience that when we've started this process with clients, they so buy into the idea of discovery that they're actually approaching you going, hey, I've got something else I want to tell you. So you end up having more purposeful, richer discussions, and over a period of time, you develop an amazing picture of the individual. And when I say that, the individual, rather than how we tend to view people in the employment system as a commodity or an object that allows an organisation to go from here to there and get an employment outcome, we actually go somewhere else. And it's probably, no, I'm not going to say it's wrong to say this, but I actually think you develop a relationship. And I know from my point of view, in my research in disability employment, the number one driver of success for disability employment outcomes is a relationship that you create with the individual and their family, underpinned by trust, particularly trust. And I think you do that by having a conversation with them and not viewing someone with a disability as, well, someone with a barrier, because the reality is that we're all disabled. We all have barriers. You can put any of us in a situation where we don't have the skills in that situation. Well, guess what? We're disabled. I mean, a classic example for me is years ago, my mentoring professor was having his final thing, and they were doing slides, and they were talking about the fact that people are disabled by technology and a variety of things. And a light bulb went off, and I said to him, hey, you send all your comments back to me in longhand. You don't use the computer. I said, you have a disability. And he said, yes, it's technology. And that's when those light bulbs go on and you start to realise, you know what, we're all the same. We all have the same barriers. The difference between myself and someone in a wheelchair or someone who has Down syndrome is that the supports in society are more fashioned to help me achieve what I want because I'm ambulatory and I'm verbal, as opposed to someone who is born with an impairment where society really doesn't cope and isn't really designed to address that, because guess what? You've got to get a special service or a special education. And I think that part of my whole, mission is to try and, I don't like using the word normalise, but I just want society to recognise that we're all the same and we all have barriers and we all need support and accommodations in some form or fashion. I mean, if you think about it, we're having a conversation to a piece of technology. Well, that's an accommodation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it absolutely is.
And people don't get that.
They don't, because it's everyday accommodations that can really change a person's ability to interact with their world and express themselves and be who they are. And so that's kind of fun. How does employment help a person find out a little bit more about who they are and what they're capable of?
Look, I think if you look at society today, and it probably as it has been for a generation, but certainly you go into a strange setting and you meet someone, the first thing they're going to do is what to say to you is, what's your name? Mm-hmm. The second thing they're going to say is, so what do you do for a living?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I have a disability and I go, I don't do anything, I pretty much guarantee the conversation is going to end there. And to be honest, I did this as a bit of an experiment myself a few years ago when I was working in direct support. I was running a behavioural team with people that were ex-offenders and they were violent and all this sort of stuff, which is fine because I thoroughly enjoy my work. And my wife is in the fashion industry, so I'd go to, once I relented and went to her Christmas party, and I said, you know what's going to happen? They're going to say, oh, you're Karen's husband, so what do you do for a living? And I will guarantee you within 15 minutes I will be standing there by myself and no one will come near me. So I did that experiment. Probably shouldn't have, but I did it anyway. And in 15 minutes I was the one standing over there by myself where everybody else was over there drinking and having fun. And it simply illustrates that in a certain sense, we treat disability the same way. You know, we should have a conversation because we're human beings, not because, oh, you have a disability, so I'm not going to have a conversation with you. And in actual fact, you know, one of the things I learned years and years ago when I was working with individuals, non-verbal individuals with autism, was they speak with their eyes. You know, and I call it the 1,000 light bulb thing. And you know when they're excited, you know when they want things, and you know they're the things they want because their eyes literally light the room up. Now, why don't we talk to someone, see what lights them up? It goes to that process I was talking about changing the conception of disability. Why don't we find what lights people up as part of the process of finding employment, not kind of go, well, what are your skills? Why don't we go and work out what lights them up? If you're non-verbal, well, I know you're going to light up your face, your eyes. So why don't we use that as part of the process of working out what lights this person up, so we can then think about what are the conditions we might want to take them into to see what, if they really light them up, to inform what we might want to do in terms of, let's think about have an employment discussion.
In your experience, do you find that people that are excited and lit up about what they're doing and the job coach or the job developer follows that path, do you find that they have a longer ability to stay in the job than those that are just given a job?
Oh, absolutely. I think that is, to me, that's just a given. You know, if you think about it, we've all had jobs because they said, oh, look, you're going to be promoted, this is the next job you go to, and you die there because the job you really enjoyed was this one that lights you up. And I think that should inform the job search. You know, what will get this person out of bed every day and make them bound down the streets and be the first person there? That's what lights a person up.